Whether the others will leave or not, I believe, depends very much on the policies adopted now in the upcoming weeks or months.
Jacques de Groote, in ex-Soviet countries, there's sort of a general opinion that EU is the new form of communism. Do you agree with this?
No, but I can understand that this idea floats around, because after all, the European Union is also a central organization with central powers and the right to command, in fact, a number of decisions in the member countries. So there could be an analogy that I can understand, but I believe this analogy is totally wrong, because after all, first of all the countries are democracies, which was not quite the case in the Soviet Union, and which is more important, the purpose is to increase competition between companies and workers, between the different countries, through mobility and competition, and that is certainly also a completely different concept from the Soviet Union. But I can understand that the idea floats around. It might also be supported and propagated by people who have an interest in destroying or threatening the functioning of the European Union.
And so do you think it was a good decision or bad decision that the UK has voted to leave the EU?
Let's face the consequences. The UK public was obviously informed in an erroneous way. And the proof of that is that the people who managed the Brexit campaign had no solution and didn't even know what would happen if they voted in favour of their proposal. It is absolutely unavoidable that the United Kingdom should register important losses in income and employment, mainly in the financial sector, because the great advantage that London had, given its extraordinarily strong financial infrastructure, is that population could move to London, but also companies and banks. So a large number of international companies and all important banks in the world moved to London because it allowed them to work as local banks in the European Union, exactly like people could move also companies. That explains that the business in the city of London has increased so much during the last 10-15 years, because it was increased because of business with financial companies and business in Europe. That is no longer going to be the case. And that is certainly going to be. For commodities, it's the same. There will be no free transfer of, let's say, UK-produced cars, for instance. They will again be submitted to taxes at the entry in the European Union. They very much hope to have a formula that would be closer to the Swiss or to the Norwegian association with the common market, in a kind of free trade association. That is quite possible, but the consequences are there. They are unavoidable, and I believe they took the wrong decision, quite certainly, and they will unfortunately experience it. But British people are brave and courageous, and they also put up a good face on it now, and it's quite certain that they will do it in a gallant and strong way. But there is no possibility to have a close association like Norway has unless you accept the rules on migration. Norway and Switzerland also, in its own discreet fashion, have indeed played with the European Union on migration of population coming in the European Union.
And as we know, the Soviet Union, it eventually did break up. Do you think the European Union is on the verge of breaking up?
It all depends. There is definitely a very strong movement to follow the United Kingdom in countries like the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Poland, perhaps even Hungary, certainly. And this movement could become even stronger over time, because the nationalistic and populist movements in those countries are quite strong, and you can also suspect some countries to be behind it because they see it as their advantage that the European Union, and for that reason also NATO, might be weak. It all depends, I believe, on what is going to be decided by the traditional powers. There is quite a certainty is that the European Union will not disappear. The founding members, that is, of course, Germany, France, Italy, and the Benelux countries, Belgium, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands, and perhaps Spain, will remain together as a trade union and as a monetary union. Whether the others will leave or not, I believe, depends very much on the policies adopted now in the upcoming weeks or months by Germany, by France, and by Italy. If they follow the indications given by Mrs. Merkel, the German Chancellor, or a few days ago, especially also the day before yesterday, if she accepts, if she recognizes that a change is needed on the immigration issue, that another policy could follow, if she continues to say that we were naive, that she didn't expect 1 million additional foreign workers to come into Germany in a few months, then I believe they will remain in the Union, the other countries. If there is no decision taken on that very point, which is the only critical point, they might leave, although leaving would entail enormous losses, especially for Poland, that has benefited so much from its trade with the Union, and also in the Czech Republic, which has a very large production of industrial products that are sold, of course, under extremely competitive conditions here now. Think just about the Skoda cars. And so they might take decision, although it will definitely imply a loss. They will not take it because of the losses involved if the decision is taken to restrain and limit and control immigration movements.
Well, Jacques de Groote, thank you so much for coming and sharing your insight with us today.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
That's all from myself and Jacques de Groote today. But if you like this interview, be sure to give it a comment on our website, dukascopy.tv.